Speaking of which, I guess we can talk about Killers of Flower Moons then, since we can segue to that, right?
Do a non-spoiler review though, please.
Ugh,
Gosh.
that's
All right. We'll
difficult.
do a non-spoiler review for Killers of the Flower Moon for this man who didn't watch it, but I doubt he will spend 3.5 hours watching it anyway.
I will. It'll happen. I just got to get my mind right for a 3.5 hour movie.
Just watching the sections.
That's what I was thinking. Like, I wish they would just make it in chapters.
Make your own chapters.
Yeah.
That's true.
I watched like the first 30 minutes last, and then went to sleep, and then I watched the rest 3 hour movie and all that because, I mean, it kind of felt like a chapter too the way I watched it because like the first 30 minutes, you kind of like get the introduction of DiCaprio's character and then Lily Gladstone's character and things like that, and you kind of like okay, and then you see where it's going.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah. I tell you what though, I'm sorry. Do you want me to go, Chris, or you
Go,
want to
go
go?
for it. Go for it.
Yeah. I tell you what. Even though the movie, in a sense, I think by the first 30 or 40 minutes you kind of understand like where the movie's gonna go.
Yeah.
In some ways, it is predictable in a sense. I feel like a movie like this, and not to give anything away, Ant, but the villains in our movie are real scumbag villains.
Yeah.
That's good. That's a good thing.
like, like,
Is De Niro a villain?
do you want me to tell you?
If you
Well, the
if
shoe
you
fits if he is.
if you never seen the trailer, then you don't know.
Exactly. Um, but yeah, they're real scumbag villains in this movie. Let's just put it that way. And it is based on a true story. I actually looked it up a little bit, and I'm like, okay, yeah, it is. This is true. That really did happen. And yes, they're really scumbag villains in this movie. And I feel like I said, I'm trying to not spoiler this because
I mean,
um,
we can't. We'll let's leave it like this. We won't say who died and all that. We'll just say the fact like, did we enjoy the movie? Uh, enjoy the movie. Elements in the movie that you've seen in trailers, we'll talk about that.
okay.
And yeah, just how we felt about the movie.
Okay.
How did you walking away from it? How did you like the movie?
It's very good. Like I said, it is a 3 hour and a half long movie, but in the same time, though, it wasn't like it lost my interest. Like during certain movies, especially a movie like that, you feel like sooner or later you kind of like, you know what I'm saying? I don't think I really lost my interest. I think because I was so like you want to see the resolution, like what resolution that came out of this, because you see kind of
You
bad people doing bad things.
you know there's no peaceful resolution there after
Yeah,
this.
there's no peaceful resolution, but you kind of felt like these bad people doing bad things, and throughout the film, and you're just kind of like, man, what bunch of like you kind of want to see some comeuppance,
Yeah.
like somebody get a comeuppance out of these characters that you see throughout the film. Um, so in a sense, so that's why I think like a lot of times, um, like a film, you're kind of like like, oh, well, they could have left this part out, that part out. But in some cases though, I feel like it wouldn't have been the same film if they did. There's so DiCaprio character in the movie, because not to give anything away, but he marries Lily Gladstone's character, and it's pretty much, I'm not saying what kind of character he is, but he's not very smart.
No.
He's kind of very dim-witted character in a sense. No, I won't say like dumb, but he's just kind of like
Dull.
very dull, very gets manipulated, gets to do certain things. Like
Oh, I thought you were
very,
gonna say dumb like Vince Vaughn and Maid.
No,
you know,
it's
not
just
like that.
like here, son, I need you to do this, even though you know it's a wrong, and I know it's wrong, but I'm gonna need you to do this.
He wasn't like not knowing he's doing something wrong, but
Like he just can't say no.
he
Yes,
can't say no. Exactly, he cannot say no.
Okay.
can't
That's exactly his
can't
character.
stand up for himself.
Can't stand up for himself, cannot say no. does certain, even though he does bad things, he knows he's doing bad things, but he's just continuously doing things and doesn't know when to just walk away or whatever. So, what's funny about the film, though, I heard, I don't know if you heard, Chris, Jesse Plemons' character gets introduced like midway through the film.
Yeah.
Uh, a lot of people say made DiCaprio should play that character instead of the other character. But I feel if they did that, it would have been a completely different film.
It would have been completely different. I mean,
It would have
Leonardo
been
DiCaprio wasn't a standout, but the scenes he did have, he was like he was in a way when he was like flirting with Lily Gladstone's character. It was kind of funny because the fact that like,
yeah.
oh, I don't know what you said, but it must have been Indian for a handsome
Handsome
devil.
devil, yeah, handsome devil, yeah.
It was cute and funny, and when I and you're kind of like rooting for him the whole movie. So like, hey, wake the freak up and change your goddamn ways, man.
I did not because I kind of felt he was a bad person in a sense. You know, he is a bad person. So, even though it wasn't completely all him. So, but the thing is, though, I felt like the reason why I say it is it's Lily Gladstone's perspective of the movie. If they did it the other way, it wouldn't be her perspective
Right.
of like the character. The whole movie is really around her and her perspective of what happens. You know,
Yeah.
to her and
Her family
and the
everything.
Native Americans and that like that's pretty much what it is. The basis of that group, the Osage tribe or people. So it's pretty much their perspective and what goes on with them. I think if you change like made it to Jesse Plemons' character DiCaprio, it wouldn't be that. It would
No.
be his perspective.
Yeah.
The whole point is her perspective and how she goes through the whole film. And I kind of thought her performance was strong, even though what was it's a, as she will she win? I don't know. I heard Emma Stone was very good. Poor things, but I thought her performance is strong because you could see the pain and suffrage from her, her eyes, everything about it throughout
Yeah.
the whole movie.
When you've seen this in the
That,
trailers, but I'm not spoiling it. When the explosion happened,
yeah,
and then you see Leonardo DiCaprio go out, but then him come back to her, and she was like being hopeful for a second, and then he's like, no, no,
yeah,
and like the pain that she felt, you felt that.
yeah, exactly. Like I said, I felt like her character, even though it's very like she talks very softly
Yeah,
and it's very kind of low
stoic
energy,
and just like,
stoic but low energy. But in the same time,
you should do this.
I kind of understand that because she's a very melancholic character.
Yeah,
So I think her performance is very good in a sense because I feel like you kind of get that sense of dread and melancholy and sadness with her throughout the whole movie. And I
true.
think that's why I think her performance is very good because without having that type of feel of melancholy and sadness, like you feel that throughout the whole movie.
Okay,
You know, a
I
sense
see
of
your point.
hopelessness, same sense of hopelessness, sense of like, and that's what I get throughout the whole movie with
Okay,
her. The movie feels like it is. It's a
yeah,
sense of hope, sense of sadness, a sense of melancholy. Like they're helpless too, as a sense, very extremely helpless, because in a sense, there's nobody really to help them
right.
out. So I think, and that's why like I said, it's not really. That's why Anthony, like I'm just telling you, yeah, you have to go into the movie kind of like, yeah, kind of do prepare yourself because you should watch
Yeah.
it. You should definitely watch
Oh,
it.
I'm gonna watch it.
But
Just it's
but it's a very, it's a
long.
Yeah.
long. But I'm like I said, it does keep my interest. It's not like it does not keep my interest because
But
you're
it could
like
have been an hour shorter.
could have been. Yeah, it could have been. I just,
Like
That's that Martin Scorsese. I don't feel like editing my movie.
it is. It's a good movie. It's a but it's not a movie that I would continually try to watch.
it's
Like
funny though because
it's a two, it's a 1 to 2 watch movie, and that's it.
it's not like I don't know. Is this Scorsese's best work? No, it's a really good movie for Scorsese. It's not his best work. What I love about Scorsese though, as a director though, if I've seen like a lot of his filmography, he never seems to do the same movie. His style of changes a lot. His actors don't change. It's always either DiCaprio or De Niro. It feels
Yeah.
like throughout those movies, but the style of movies he makes is very different from each other.
Right.
I even for this one, it does not feel like a Scorsese movie.
No, it
Like
doesn't.
I watch now I guess his camera work will be Scorsese because I know he does like a couple long shots. Like what's not long shots? And what am I thinking of? What's of like still shots? Like they go, kind of keep on. Um,
Like cinematography shots, like
um, what's it called? Your favorite movie shot in movies, guys?
One shot.
one
A
shot.
one shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does a couple one shots like throughout like which I know in Goodfellas he did that. You going through like a house and all that. Um, but like I feel like his movies feel different each one. Like they all feels like somewhat different because
Yeah.
like this stuff feels completely different from Goodfellas or The Departed,
Or the
but then
Irishman for that matter. Yeah.
or The Irishman. But then you have like movies like Gangs of New York or The Aviator or trying to think what else he directed that is complete or even Wolf of Wall Street to feel completely different from
Yeah.
anything else. Like that's why I applaud Scorsese because I feel as a filmmaker, like I feel like Steve, like for instance, if I watch a Steven Spielberg film, now I know he did a Schindler's List and things like that, but I always feel Steven Spielberg film when you watch the film feels like a Steven Spielberg film, like the filmography and everything else.
Mhm.
They all seem kind of like look the same, and even though it's a different movie, they feel the same. And nothing going against Spielberg, but that's his kind of signature. Is the
I
film, the
mean,
way he films
but
things.
but would you say? I don't think he films the same. Like I
Spielberg,
Ready Player One is completely different from anything he's done.
I think the only difference with Player One is like the CGI. A lot of CGI throughout the movie, but I think even the live action stuff, it feels like a Spielberg. I don't know what it is. The
Okay,
camera work.
now you say
Camera
that.
work.
Now I'm thinking about it. Now I'm like, okay, the live action stuff was more like the War of the Worlds kind of feel to it. Now I'm thinking about
The
it. Yeah.
color, yes. The camera work, the color. Same with Nolan. The camera work, the color.
Oh, you
Some
you could definitely tell it's a Nolan movie.
it does a Nolan film.
Yeah.
It's something about certain directors. They have a certain style. Even Fincher or anything like that, they have a certain style, a certain look to it that I feel like you can be like, okay, that's a Nolan film. That's a Spielberg film.
Yeah.
That's a Fincher film. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's certain ways they film things that you just feel the same style. Scorsese, I don't know, man. Maybe I'm wrong. I feel that, but he looks different in his movies. They don't look always the same. It's the same. The funny thing is though, like the
I
only
think
thing
it's
that
whatever it is for that particular movie.
it is,
It-
but I applaud him for that because, like I said, I don't see that from a lot of
like
directors.
Wolf of Wall Street was snappy and quick and
Yes,
all the time, and
yes, and
like
that's a long movie too, though. But that feels like a much more energetic
yeah,
movie. The energy was completely different.
yeah,
You know,
this is completely different. This is like
this was more like like really kind of like somber
yeah,
and melancholy in the way the movie goes, and very like, like that's what I'm saying though. I applaud him for that because, like I said, a lot of times directors will do very similar stuff, just like actors do. Like a lot of actors have the same style of acting
yeah.
and don't change it up. So yeah, I applaud for Scorsese for that because I said that's impressive, man. And it's funny and not because I'm a fan of Scorsese. I just like I look at that, I'm like, man, he takes risks when it comes to filmmaking. Like I said, a lot of directors make great freaking films, and and like Nolan's one and Spielberg. But like I said, no, rarely do I see them change their style. So, yeah, good stuff.
It, it
But
it was a good movie. I just
good
wish it was
movie.
like it was an hour shorter.
Yeah, but it's funny though. If it was told by Jesse Plemons, it would have been a 2 hour movie.
Yeah,
The fact that it
it
was
would have
told
been because he showed up like freaking almost an hour in.
halfway.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. It would have been completely different if his character like showed up because he could have got told that stuff. But in some ways, I get it the way they showed it from her side, Lily Gladstone's perspective, and that's why I think it made it a much longer movie.
and
Uh,
Gotcha.
it also Brendan Fraser like that was such a short role for him. But I was like, okay, you're in here, good stuff.
Brendan Fraser, John Lithgow had a small role, but it's cool to see
Yeah,
him.
very small role for John Lithgow. I forgot that he was even in the movie, and then all of a sudden I saw him. I was like, oh, okay.
Um, do you think De Niro deserves? I thought he has played a really good role as a.
I think he played it better than Leonardo DiCaprio. I think he was better than Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah. Well, I think his character is way more interesting in a sense than
Yeah,
Caprio. Caprio is just like kind of a, in some ways, I thought he was an idiot, you
yeah,
know. So but De Niro's character is definitely more
sinister
interesting
and
and
interesting.
not to say, oh, that gives away
Well, I
what
mean,
he is.
if you've seen the trailers, you know he's up to no good.
I'm pretty sure. Well, if you see the beginning of the movie, you kind of already know where it's going. So
Yeah,
I think that even like the start of the movie, you know where it's going. So, but yeah, it is a long movie, very long, but I enjoyed it. It's like I said, I understand why it's critically acclaimed. So yeah, um, and I'm glad it told the story too because it is a very interesting story because that's something I never knew that
no,
story.
yeah,
I had no idea that they're still
but
around. I guess.
it makes sense.
Yeah, but they're still around too. I believe they're still around. The people, they're of course their ancestors or whatever. They're but not their ancestors, but the people now that still exist to this day.
Right.
But yeah, it's definitely an interesting story, and it's definitely it's a I would say not a proud moment in American history. Let's just put it that
Oh
way.
no,
Very, very,
very dark.
yeah, dark moment in American history. Yes.
Yeah.
So
All right.